Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Theresa, and so today is a little bit bittersweet. I will be sharing the final layout for the Clique Kits Creative Team. I just want to say thank you so much to Gia Lau and the staff at Clique Kits, the creative team, and the designers and the manufacturers of all the beautiful products that have been featured in Clique Kits. Today I'm working with Cocoa Vanilla Happy Days, and so I just shared some of the pattern papers included in the kit, and then there were 2 packs of ephemera, a sheet of cardstock stickers, a sheet of chipboard words and titles. And I've already punched out my title for this page, and I broke up some of those words just to borrow some of the alphabets. There were also these 2 beautiful ephemera packs in the collection, one with butterflies and frames and things like that, and the other with beautiful florals. I brought in some ribbons from my stash. I didn't end up using those, but I thought that they were going to tie in with the photo that I was using. And then I also just hand cut a little kite template for myself. And so the photo I'm working with is, in fact, a photo from around 1980 or 1981, I believe. This is my dad, my sister, and my grandmother and I flying a kite. And so definitely a great photo to have as a memory. And the dress that I was wearing in that photo, I remember it was, again, one of my favorites. I seem to recall that being the case in the last video, but it had this little brownish purple velvet trim, and I loved that velvet trim, sensory seeking. And so that was sort of the starting point for my color selections, and that's why I chose to start with that sort of purple, burgundy, mauve-ish pattern paper. And so what I thought I would do is just sort of create a kind of landscape across the bottom of the page. And then I wanted to use the rainbow pattern paper as like a sky and have the alphabets or the title on little kites across the top, and then create the landscape across the bottom. So that's my idea going into the layout. I went ahead and pulled some of the other rainbow order type pattern papers here: pink, yellow, green, blue, and then I also have this little tiny strip from the words pattern paper. I'll share with you why that is in just a moment. But I love this because it allows you to use a variety of pattern papers from a collection, and you still have all those pattern papers to pull from for later layouts. I like challenging myself to use as many pattern papers on a layout as possible. It's just something that I consider fun. And so I challenge you to try that today too for yourself. And so to create the feeling of a landscape, I decided to tear the tops of these pattern papers. And so I'm just laying that out right here to see how it looks and feels, arranging the pattern papers in sort of rainbow order. And I ended up kind of minimizing the white torn part a little bit, and I just realized that the torn edges, I love torn edges, I love distressed, but it just didn't feel right on this layout. So I grabbed my scissors here and trimmed all that off. I also rounded the corners a little bit to sort of make it feel like round earth here. But it softened it. What you'll see it did was it just softened these strips. I also think that it would be a lot of fun if you're into stitching. You could totally stitch along those edges. You could do a really cute cross stitch with your embroidery threads. That would be a really cute way to highlight those edges. But you'll see how I'm going to do it here in just a few moments. And then there's this little black and white frame. And so I decided to use that behind the photo as a way to kind of lift it out of the background. But also having the photo on top allows the photo to be the main star in the layout. And I truly believe using this treatment is the right way to go with vintage photos to allow them to stand out on the page, keep the original feel as much as possible. This photo was originally a 4x6 photo with rounded corners, and it was taken with my dad's Pentax camera. And so the original photo was printed on like a matte textured photo paper. So I did a little bit of a texture in Photoshop. You can't really see that texture on camera, but then I printed it a little bit smaller than 4x6. It's probably more like 4 inches wide and then 2.5 or something inches high. And then in the 80s, all the photos had rounded corners, so I rounded the corners as well, just to sort of keep that original feel without using the original photo. The photo itself, in case you're curious, is a scan from the original photo albums. And then from the scan, I lifted this out and edited it. Save the original, always save the original, and then work with a printed copy when you're working with vintage photos. So that's part of why, the colors look the way they are. And again, just trying to retain that original feel of that photo. There's a lot of sentimentality. My dad was the photographer in our family. He loved cameras and different camera angles and taking photographs of the family. That was his passion project, side job. He did have to do that for his work. And so that I have a sentimentality about these photos. All right, so I've got the everything is in place mostly, and I'm working with my title. A funny story about the K. I did change up the words. The chipboard words were already arranged into words, and I lifted out what I needed to create my own title. So it's going to say, "Let's go fly a kite." And there was no K on the chipboard paper. So, but there was a K on the pattern paper with those words on it. So I built up a chipboard letter K. And so it's kind of funny now. There's always one outlier, right? So, but that's how we do things. We make our own when we need to. And so now I'm just using my little, my kite template. I wanted hand cut kites just to give that, it's designed to keep that kind of windblown feel of a kite. I don't know if that works or not, but they were cute. And so I'm just cutting the strips and folding it in half, and then cutting all these little pieces from the different pattern papers. This turned out to be a really nice way to repeat those pattern papers use up some of the scraps, create more scraps along the way, but just bringing in a sort of lighthearted feel here, but also creating a contrast behind those black and white letters. And so here, now that they're all trimmed out, I'm going to go ahead and adhere all the letters and make each kite what they need to be. And I kind of sort of mostly have a feel for where they're going to go. But something that I'm realizing as I'm working with these kites, and you probably see it too, they're getting a little bit lost against the cloud background. So once I get all these in place, then I'm gonna just grab a couple of options for a different background just to see how it looks different, how to help the kite title pop a little bit better off of the background. So I grabbed a couple of pieces of solid cardstock. There was that rainbow pattern paper. It was so pretty. And I wanted to try this kind of what I consider a neutral pattern paper, because it's mostly white with a little border, a little artistic border there. It's a beautiful pattern paper. It didn't work though, I think. So then there's pink and yellow and a couple of like mint blue. And I think this one is perfect. It's a basil textured cardstock. And when I was cutting out the pattern papers, remember I cut the little rainbow strip, and that ended up working out really nicely here at the top of the page. And what that does is creates a top border, a visual edge at the top of the layout. So, okay, I've got the background I'm going to use, and I've got the kite title made, and the landscape borders are all in place at the bottom. So now I'm going to fill in around the title. And remember last time I created a layout for Clique Kits, I made this little background with a memento stencil and my ink blending tools. And this sheet that I'm punching the clouds out of was kind of my tester page for that. And look, it comes in really handy here. The clouds are going to be kind of the base for some other embellishments and things. You can see I pulled some of the butterflies, that happy little sunshine, and the little gray cloud. Some of those just little things from the die cuts that could also be pulled in just to add a little bit more fun, some more fun details and some happy little elements here to round out this top portion of the page. And this is an interesting study here in balance. The bottom half of the layout with the pattern paper strips is heavy. Visually, it's weighted at the bottom. And so the rainbow stripe across the top helps to balance that out, and anything that goes in with the title will help create a little more balance. And of course, it's also just fun to add in all the things. Another thing that I wanted to do was add some of these beautiful flowers in between the layers of pattern paper at the bottom. Is it more weight? Absolutely. But I do need somewhere for my journaling and my date. And there's definitely opportunities here just to add a few more things right into the mix. I'm all about using your die cuts, as many as you can. Enjoy those products. They look so fun on the layouts, and they look a lot more fun in the layout than they do being donated to someone else, because you never got a chance to use them. So at this stage, I'm going to go ahead and adhere everything down. I do like to stage my layouts first, just to get a feel for the direction that it's going. Oh, look, I just noticed my shirt matches the purple pattern paper in the layout. So that's cute. But at any rate, just staging the layout a little bit and making sure that you're on the right track. That being said, I definitely do my own share of ripping things up and put them back down until I get it right, until it feels right. I definitely recommend using removable adhesive as much as possible. And also, it's one reason I like stickers, or I like die cuts a whole lot more than I like stickers, because once you put a sticker down, it's down. You got to work with it. No shade against stickers, because I definitely love me some stickers too. But you'll notice here how I'm creating these clusters around the title, and just sort of a combination of filling in some of the spaces in between those words, and also just continuing this very horizontal orientation of the layout. Everything is a part of some sort of visual line that goes from left to right. And of course, this is the design principle I preach all the time, the principle of line, and how line tells your eye exactly where to go, and it organizes your elements on the page. And that's what I'm doing here. Everything falls on a sort of horizontal, very calming line. And it's an interesting contrast with kites. With a kite layout, a vertical orientation would work beautifully, because, and especially because in the photo we're all looking up at this imaginary kite. We're all looking up at the title on the page. But I think that using a horizontal line for this layout creates something unexpected. And so when you look at this, you're intrigued. You're drawn into the photo in the center. What are these people looking at? And you look up to the title and you read, oh, let's go fly a kite. They're flying a kite. Oh, got it. Okay, so that's how we're presenting information on this page. And then you can sort of see here how the flower clusters came together. Notice how I organized the flowers by color first, and then tucked in the pink flowers into the pink row, yellow into the yellow row, and blue and purple into their rows. And then I also extended the photo cluster out with the flowers and the butterfly and the little rainbow. So the whole sort of line that the photo sits on almost goes from the far left side to the far right, almost completely. Again, just continuing that wonderful horizontal calming line. This is so much fun. I love doing these layouts like this. Just using up all these beautiful flowers, and creating by color is super fun for me. Just using rainbow order. Roy G. Biv, it is a trusted method of scrapbooking here. I'm just looking for, I need a little journal spot. And so I mentioned this already, that the flowers on the bottom half are a great little home base for the journaling. So I'm just going to use this little round round journal spot. It has lines. And what I wanted to point out about this photo was a little detail about my grandmother. She loved kites and hot air balloons. They just delighted her. And that's something that you can see in the photo, in her expression. She's got her hands clasped, and I can just hear her laughter. And that's what I wanted to remember about this particular photo, was her joy. I did include a little word strip that says the little things. What did it say? It's the little things. From this sheet of cardstock stickers, and that just described her way of living life in a nutshell. And of course the date, I don't have exact date or anything like that, but I do believe it's probably around 1980 or the late 70s. Possibly 1981. And then check this out, these adorable little puffy sticker hearts, and there were little puffy sticker dots, and some of the little dots had little hearts on them. And so I'm adding a few of those. One of the cutest things I did, I think, was to put some of those little puffy circles around the rainbow beside that sunshine. So I'm going to close out the final video for Clique Kits. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting Clique Kits for all of these years. To Gia, thank you so much for your friendship, for your kindness to me, and for your presence in this community as a model of diversity and inclusion. Thank you for all that you've done for our community, and I just wish you all the best. I can't wait to hear about your journeys and your adventures in the future. I do hope that you will continue sharing your beautiful layouts. We love seeing them, and we appreciate all your hard work so much. We'll see you back here again soon, and thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.